welcome back to the show. Isa, thanks so much for coming back on. It's good to see you. How are you?
It's good to see you too, Rob. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure as always. And hi, everyone. We will be having fun here for sure. And let's see where this takes us to.
Yeah, yeah, it's going to be awesome. Yeah. So, you and Sean have been uncovering more of the ET artifacts, I guess. Like, what's going on with that? And now it looks like from regard in regards to your bio, you're now the director of the cultural initiatives of the Artifact Guardians Foundation. That's pretty
Oh,
cool.
well, actually, that's another story. I'm not associated with them. At some point, there was a proposal, but they followed their own path. I'm into very interesting now. Um, I cannot disclose anything yet. Yet it involves a lot of cultural aspects. We are building up a foundation here in Mexico, another one in United States. We have many interesting updates that I will be giving. Actually, um, I will love at some point later to disclose this with you in another show once all of this is in green light, because actually it's going to be so huge that it's meant to be disclosed, all of it at once.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is it? Do you think it could change the way we think about disclosure and and the ET phenomena?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like there have been very important discoveries that have been done. Actually, Trevor Grassi was in one of them. And we are now taking all the correspondent measurements so that the way that this is brought to the public is in a neat way, as how it's meant to, because there has been a lot of information being disclosed, here and there, but when you put a lot of things together, and mainly when you ran into a huge discovery as we did, then all of it has to come in a very specific way at the right moment. And this is what we are working on. This is why I'm talking to you about, the foundation here in Mexico, another foundation in United States, all of it coming together at the perfect time. And yeah, because the implications to this, um, I don't think we can even be aware of them like fully right now. It's not just about unraveling a story that was for long not told, like the fact that the galactics have always been here. Yet if we go deeper into why has all had been so disclosed, like what can happen, what a big of a deal. Yes, we're not the only beings in the universe. So what? Well, the fact that we start connecting to that frequency from a state of awareness, we start unpacking all those codes that were compressed because there was ignorance, because there was a lack of awareness of who we truly are, which is multidimensional beings. So it's not the same having the presence of the galactics here and you're not aware of that, or you're not connecting or interacting with them, or that even if you're interacting with them, but that's individually happening or in small groups, that if you put the scenario as a collective, all the collective being aware of this, and then it's like removing a huge mist that wasn't allowing people to tune into their true selves. You know, uh, when we move forward from being just only humans, than being a cosmic race, that shifts everything, because then people start occupying their place in this construction of reality. They start questioning themselves more and questioning the others more, and opening their field to receive all those answers through a direct connection. So, of course, there is going to be a lot of pushing back and forward about whether the ETs have good intentions or not, whether if the galactic community, what is truly, if they have an agenda. Well, if they had already wanted to do something, they would have already done it, like something negatively.
Yeah,
Them are,
exactly.
yeah, like they have so much technology, and so do us. Like we also have a lot of technology. Like JP talks a lot about this, and how what the level of technology that the United States has. And of course, we have other countries that I'm very certain that they have also big technology, like Russia, Israel, like all of these countries that for some reason have been in conflict is because, like, one of the reasons is due to the level of technology that they have. So now, where that does that lead us or leave us? And for me, it's to empower our own technology, so that we start remembering that everything that we see, all that technology that we see outside, is a reflection and is reverse engineering technology, us being the source to that inspiration. Like everything that we develop, internet, Google, iCloud, cars, spaceships, arcs, everything that we are coming to develop, to invent, is because we know that that it exists somewhere. Well, that somewhere is here. We know that through the psionics, we have the capability to teleport, to travel through dimensions, to warp the space memory network, to move things, to influence and mind control others, to um, I don't know, like you pick whatever you choose, to fly, to levitate, all of that we are capable of. So now imagine that we start having access as a collective to all those technologies as a simple basis, then that reflecting back at us automatically is going to start activating our memories of who we are. It's like when you are in a group with a group of friends, like when we do go to these conferences, you are talking all the time about all of these things and who we are and what we're capable of. We come back to our house and we are like super upgraded. We are like super aroused in all of these things, all of this information that is now activating within us. Now imagine doing that every day.
Wow. That's amazing. Yeah, hell yeah. I just wanted to let you know you have a. I can't delete him because he's not in my chat. He's in your chat. You have a keyboard warrior, like a psychopath. Like he's talking a lot of shit in your chat. Like it makes me mad. I want to delete him so bad, but it won't let me delete him because he's not. Um, you know, it's the
Oh,
guy. Yeah, sorry. I didn't mean to. Like it makes me upset because I appreciate what you do. And I don't like when people do stuff like that.
okay. Let me see if I can do
His
that.
name's the Deadly Squirrel. You want to get him out of your chat. I don't know who that is. I mean, yeah, he's the. I would just delete him and block him. Like
Yeah, well, there is a lot of that happens, but also that gives you. Thank you for saying that. Yet that also gives you the knowledge or the confirmation that you're doing important things, and that I don't even know if they exist, to be honest. Sometimes when that type of energy comes, I
yeah,
see them as part of the very same matrix. Just trying to
I love
to
how you don't even let it get you. You don't even let it bother you. You just kind of keep going. I love that. That's awesome. Me, I got to work on myself more because I get fired up about it. But you're yeah. You can tell you've done the inner work. You've done the inner work for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's here, and this has been coming a lot to the field. I don't know if you have seen that there is a lot of anger in people, and that also things or events trying to trigger the anger in people, and that leads to something deeper. Like why they're trying to fire up a lot the population.
Yeah.
Why is there so much fire going on? So I believe that this has to uh, do with a bigger event that might be coming up. We know about the solar flares, that's also happening big time. The strange behavior of the sun, that has to do with a lot of the inner fire. And now also we have like potential volcano eruptions, earthquakes, these that are shaking, things that are shaking the earth. And that we have two options: whether we take that fire righteously, because fire is good. Like if you get mad at that guy who is commenting, that I don't, seriously, not to offend, but seriously, I don't know if he even exists, because we see like a lot of people call them trolls. I
He could
see.
be an NPC. He could be an NPC.
Yeah, they are just taken by the very same matrix, and then they start, like acting, or people that they really don't know what to do with their time, and it's okay, because those are tests. But
But it makes me mad that people are disrespectful to people, especially when you're bringing forth such good information.
mm,
And it's not very classy of a person to do that. You know what I mean? It's very low, whatever you want to call it. It's just low. You know what I mean? Yeah. But I mean, I love the fact, like, again, that you didn't get worked up about it. So that says, yeah,
yeah, well, one of the things that I have found out is that, and I have seen this because this is coming even in my inner circles, that there is a lot of things that the factions are trying to do to separate us. Like seriously, it's impressive.
absolutely,
They are trying to do their best to create this from the very same group, two groups, and from the very same group, other two groups, like causing all this division. And on the other hand, it also makes us aware of who we truly are meant to be with, you
yeah.
know?
You know what I noticed? I think it's like Olivia James talks about, like, Project Oblivion. That these, like, there's some, like, outside, like, government faction, or it could be negative ETs too, targeting people for these, like, reasons of, like, division, like you said. And like, they're very strategic about it. They've gotten in some of my most closest relationships with people. You know what I mean? And I'm like, well, I try to tell people and warn people beforehand that, like, there's a lot of targeting in this. You know what I mean? But, like, some people don't believe me, but I absolutely think there is. I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah, there is, but that's the thing, that's the opportunity that we have to know that it's truly an illusion, like that what they are trying to put us to distract us from our goal is an illusion. So, because seriously, I don't know if you have experienced that lately, but there's like a lot going on in between very specific groups, and then you just move a little bit aside, like for instance in the topic of the well, wherever, I don't even want to mention, but in any environment, you see that there is a lot of things popping up, and then you just move a little bit aside and you put yourself in the contemplative state, and then you see how there are other energies, just trying to manipulate and making people act in the way that it's not their true essence. But at
Yeah,
some point, they end up believing that they are that, because there are holes. So those energies come through those holes. And then you have people and you look at them and you ask them, who are you? You are not that. Where are you? Like move all those energies. That's not you. Remember who you are. But the
yeah,
thing that now this has always happened, yet now it's happening at a deeper level, as I was saying, with people that you would have, like now all this movement of spirituality, and ascension, and you have the people of the artifacts, and you have And it's very important to question ourselves beyond, besides looking outside, just questioning ourselves and asking if we are in the right place at the right moment and with the right people doing what we came here for. If we are allowing ourselves to get distracted, or if we're just moving forward and being very certain of what we are meant to do, and whatever is happening to us, that allows us to expand our heart even more instead of, closing it or generating lack of trust. Just being very aware and cautious, yes, yet opening our heart more through every event that we are going through, because that's the key. Like, for instance, if this person really exists, the one that was or is commenting whatever, it's not about generating hate, it's about generating love, because hate only generates more hate. It's just about, neutrality and sending love, because if that is the key, if something is going to shift reality, is love, not hate.
I love that. I love that. That's amazing. That's a good way to think. It's almost like you brought me back into focus. And you made me. Yeah, thank you for that.
Oh, my pleasure. I mean, we are all in this path getting to know more of ourselves. And through all of these events, we're getting to know more of ourselves and reminding us what is truly important in all of this. Yes, putting boundaries. Yes, it will be good, but you don't stop. Things won't stop you.
Yeah,
You need to move forward, and that's the key, because these missions are not easy, Rob.
absolutely.
Like
Yeah,
what you are doing, what I am doing, it's not easy. Yet they chose us for a reason. So that's when we ask ourselves, okay, so what do we need to do in order to move forward? And it's keeping our energy in us, not letting it to leak through events or experiences or in people trying to drain us, because then we won't be getting anywhere. That's a commitment and a responsibility that we have with ourselves and with our field. So
yeah. That's amazing. And I was going to say, people can get so upset that it can make holes in there. And my camera froze. That's why I took it off. I took it off because like my camera froze. But people
huh,
can get so upset and like and so depressed and so angry that like it can leave holes in the auric field, and that's when you can get entity attachments, right?
exactly, exactly. And they are trying to do that a lot, because I don't know if you have faced that or heard about that in the people that you interview or your friends, closest friends, and so forth. But at some point, a lot of people is facing right now, like, as I was saying, like, choose where are you going to, which side are you going to be at, and that is questioning what you thought that you were meant to do and meant to be, and what you are truly being required to do and to be. So even if you have already like a path of awareness worked on your shadow and in your light and so forth, we are now being presented, like, even a new picture and a new scenario of what spirituality is or of awareness is, and trying to bring Hollywood into the very same path of consciousness, and people is not aware of that. This is why there is like a lot of ego pulsing even in the path of awareness. So it's okay, ego is good. The thing is how you are working with it. Are you using it to attack the other, or are you using it to grow from it? So, and yeah, it's very interesting, it's very interesting. I think it's a very beautiful stage in which we are at right now, because we are really stepping up to the major leagues, and the major leagues require to truly own our reality and be the creators of it, not only now just talking, but saying how it would be, how good would it be to manifest, and the loss of manifestation. Now we're truly facing a reality where the tools of major forms of configuring our reality are being presented to us. I mean, we are closer to the galactics than ever as a collective. I'm talking about, it's
Yeah.
like, and that the implications to that is, again, as I was saying, rising up into our multidimensional self, and what would that be? I know that many people at some point tries to look outside themselves than saying, wow, okay, so how am I going to configure my reality from the holofractal field? How am I going to communicate and operate my body and communicate with the galactics through, my the signaling of my own selves? How am I going to stop looking so much at Google or the iCloud, or, to ask and start listening to the signals that the galactics are sending through my cells, through my mitochondria, through the people that I'm talking, through nature? Those are big questions. How are you spending your energy? What are you, again, are you in the right place at the right moment with the right people doing the right thing, what you're meant to? And I think that as long as we keep on asking ourselves that very often and having the right answer, that is keeping us in track. I
Yeah.
ask myself a lot of times, what am I doing, right here, right now, with all these artifacts? Like, for instance, when I was living in Egypt and then I was being told to come to Mexico because there will be a lot of technology emerging from the ground, I had already tuned into ancient artifacts. Yet
Whoa, that's amazing.
I know this is a majestic one, and this has a very important mission.
That is a huge skull. Holy heck. Let me see if my camera's unfrozen. Yeah. That is huge. Holy heck.
And this has a major mission, and it involves me. It's not because I'm saying, oh, I'm the one chosen for this. No, it's because I'm humbly asking myself every day if I am in the enough coherence to be holding the consciousnesses that reside within this being, you know?
Whoa.
It's heavy. Oh,
Yeah.
so, and like, they have so much knowledge and so much information to share. Seriously, it's we have really impactful things to do as beings and as a collective. And I do think that the more that we come into unity is when we get to achieve them, you know
Yeah. That's a good point. Yeah. Yeah. How much of the I mean, do you believe that a certain part of the populace has to be at a certain consciousness level for the ETs to interact with us, like, publicly?
Yes, yes. I've seen that, for instance, if someone that is not in a very specific level of coherence in their field, they collapse. They collapse. They might have connections, they might talk to galactic beings, but they lose it.
Yeah.
Seriously. Or they are not even aware that they are communicating with galactics, but at some point they lose it. They start going into very specific patterns of behavior that are not centered, that are not healthy. So that tells you, okay, so what do you truly want to do? Do you want to connect with galactics, the galactics? What's more important for you, just to connect with the galactics, or to have a sustainable and healthy relationship with yourself and with the galactics? Because then the galactics are not just going to tell you, hey, hi, how are you? At least not in my experience. They're going to tell you, hi, okay, so here is the list of the things that you need to do. These are your quests, these are your missions. So, and it's not like you're going to pile them up and they're going to be okay with it. No, you need to go one by one. Otherwise, your field starts to go, a little bit intense until you address to those quests that you were being given, you know? And that's what a lot of people is not aware of. They think that just connecting is about having a beautiful moment one on one with the galactics and receiving and receiving and receiving and receiving more. No, this is an exchange. And if you're not ready to give proportionally to what you're being given, then it blows in your face, you know? So,
Absolutely. 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 What I wanted to ask you about was the Boogosphere. Like, because when I had Sean on, he showed me video of you guys like meditating over the Boogosphere and stuff like that. I think that's amazing that you got to, they got to interact with it. Like, what was that like? And like, what do was it giving you messages? And where do you think it's from? Because sorry, I have so many questions. Like,
well, I am honored enough to be part of the research group. I think I did mention this part partially last show that we have. So I have had the experience, the opportunity to communicate with it, to meditate with it for more than 5 times now, perhaps
yeah,
even 6 or 7. Every time is different. A lot of things have been explained to me. You see that every artifact they have like the eye
yeah,
in the forehead or in many places, and we immediately say, okay, that represents the third eye. It's way more, it's way deeper than that. It's actually representing a nexus, a cosmic nexus in which they travel through that wormhole that is the eye, and how they are interconnected mind to mind as a network, as lattice. So whatever, it's like a unified field, a unified mind. And a lot of people can relate this even to artificial intelligence, because it's a network, and all even program like rock is connected to chat gtp, and they communicate with one another. So like they're all interconnected. So again, it's reverse engineered from how we as a unified mind work. So, for instance, what I was saying with the bugas here, one of the things that I have received is that they can, they can, like the beings. Imagine that there is there is this huge mothership, and from the mothership, from that arc, they send a lot of spectral spheres. Well, spectral spheres or smaller. So those spheres come from an arc. Where is that arc? Well, not from only one arc, from several arcs. Some of those arcs are underground, like in this earth, like how, okay, so yeah, because I don't want to confuse people. So the Bugasphere is coming from an arc that it's not underground. Yet the arcs that are underground and under the sea have other spectral spheres that are meant to be awakened and activated. And that will happen. And part of what Three Eye Atlas has been doing is activating through waves some of these arcs, some of the devices, some of the artifacts, and some of the spheres. So by 2027, there will be a major event after the eclipse in Luxor in Egypt, and people knows that something is going to happen. This is why if you ask now, if you call a friend in Egypt and ask to do a retreat by the solar eclipse, they will tell you that everything is already booked, that there is no way now to find a place there, because every like a lot of people will be there. I feel that the whole of the records will be discovered after 2020, like after the eclipse in 2027. That's a message that I have received, that the whole of records in Egypt will be discovered after what will be happening, what will be moved through that solar eclipse. I feel that what 3i Atlas will be doing now with its alignment to Jupiter will also be critical to power up a lot of the arcs on Earth. And these arcs are related to the arc in the Bermuda Triangle, the arcs and technologies that are actually close to the island of Cuba, because the island of Cuba now will be going through a lot of shifts politically, economically, and technologically wise. Venezuela, Mexico, um, all this part in this continent will be taken into a scenario where all these artifacts will be emerging into the surface, will be disclosed. Some of them will just be disclosed, some of them will be actually activated, and then a lot of spheres at some point. Have you heard about the Nuremberg event?
The Nuremberg event. No, wait. I mean, can you refresh me? Like, I mean, would it?
Well, the
What,
Nuremberg event was like in the medieval times,
yeah,
a little bit after, and it was well around the medieval times, and there were a lot of spheres that were captured, like well, not captured, like people made drawings about
yeah.
this these spectral spheres coming in at once. Well, before I knew about this event, I received the message that that will be happening here as well, and that at some point people seeing a lot of these spheres that have always circulated the skies but were cloaked, now they are going to remove the cloak that they have, and they will allow us to see them. People is already seeing them, but they are seeing them isolated, like people in United States, people in Europe, people in South America are seeing separately these spheres, and perhaps just one sphere or perhaps more spheres, but they like it's an isolated event. No, I'm talking about a very specific part of the world that will be seeing a lot of these spheres at once, because then they will be capturing a huge anomaly that will be happening. Like I'm just saying what I receive. I'm not saying
Yeah,
that is what it's going to be, but I'm
yeah.
sharing what I have been receiving through my communication with the Bugasphere. I have put my third eye on the chip of the Bugasphere, and what it showed to me was impressive. Like it took me to the epicenter of the nexus where it is connected to, the lattice of that code that is interconnected to all these I codes that we see everywhere in all these artifacts and in all these ancient walls and in pyramids and so forth. We see the I everywhere. Well, that is a nexus, that is a network. And the Bugasphere, along with other artifacts that have been found with that code, are connected to that nexus. And this is super important because we are being called to remember that nexus, to reconnect from a state of awareness to that matrix, because that is the primordial matrix. And if you ask me what is the primordial matrix, the primordial matrix is that field that is beyond the the distortion, beyond the decoherence. It's not that it's perfect, yet there is more coherence than decoherence. And here in this simulation reality, we can say that it's founded on 80% decoherence and 20% coherence, you know? So
Yeah.
whereas the primordial field is the other way around. You don't need that much decoherence. You don't need that much entropy. It's more about negantropy, which is order. You know, those higher dimensions are 80% order, negantropy, coherence, and the rest is what keeps the order alive, because there needs to be some chaos for order to be. But here it is, you know, like this reality, it's okay, the more chaotic it is, the more safe that population feels. Really? That's stupid. That's absurd. No, seriously, look. The moment that things are flowing normally and in peace, people starts to feel anxious, you know, like there is something going to happen. Why is everything so still? Because they configure this reality so that people would feel safe with that, or alive with that rush. You can see it with people that do drugs. If they don't do drugs, they don't feel alive. And if we say that everything goes in scales, like people that are not going through the adrenaline, or that they are not feeling the adrenaline or of anxiety, they don't feel alive. They feel that they are not doing anything from their lives. Like, how many people, if they are not doing 1,000 things, they don't feel productive?
Yeah.
You need to be running in order to feel that you're doing something from your life, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the inertia of this reality. I'll tell you something, Rob. If we as a humanity put us, like, agree to be for a few days resting, just in contemplation, just in the nature, just communicating with one another, just connecting deep with one another for a few months, this reality, this simulation reality, collapses. I'll tell you that. I'll tell you, and I could guarantee you that. What happened with the COVID? What happened with the pandemic thing?
It was like a big farce, or it seemed like it. It was like I don't know. It was well, they tried to keep us apart. They tried to keep us socially distanced. They tried to keep us like separated.
That's on one side. And the thing is that you couldn't go to nature. Most people were locked down in their houses.
Yeah.
But didn't a big shift of consciousness happened?
Yeah, it did because it triggered people to wake up. Yeah, so I would say it did, right? What did you say? Yeah,
It did, because people stopped the inertia of the matrix. So then
yeah,
they have time to really be with themselves, be exploring themselves. So
yeah,
it fired up, like, the people that created this plot, it blowed in their faces. Why? Because they were waiting for people to die. That's it. But people woke up. A lot of people woke up, and they were not counting on that. So that's one of the things that happens when you stop the inertia, and when you truly start to be present for you, and stop thinking that you need to do like 1,000 million things in order to be alive, in order to prove yourself productive. And this is happening also, like, seriously, you tell me, Rob, how many things do you do a day?
a lot, a lot. You know, I mean
And
a
you
lot.
are exhausted, and you are in this path of awareness. You're in this path of awareness. I am in this path of awareness, and we were talking about this before going live. How are you? Good, just super busy.
Yeah,
And I ask you, and I ask the beautiful audience, and I ask myself, do I really need to do so many things?
yeah, That is true. That's a good point.
you know, because I know that this is a process that we are being asked to do a lot of things. I know everything is accelerating because we are at the edge and at the verge of a huge shift. And that's what happens, even quantumly speaking, when two neurons are going to generate awareness, they accelerate, they start to generate gamma waves, and then boom, awareness is. So I know that we are in that point, collectively speaking. So
Yeah.
it's exciting. It's very exciting.
Wow, that is exciting. That is. Yeah. Wow. Well, I'm just trying to think of where to go with that. But have you guys come across like any new artifacts or like any? Are you still going on digs all the time? And like, are you planning on keeping up with the digs and all that? Like, how's that going?
Um, right now, there are like a lot of things that there are things going on, yes, yet um, um, I mean, I'm on a kind of an NDA. I cannot talk a lot about this, but there are huge things
Yeah.
going to happen right now. There are huge things that are going to happen right now. Um, there are things being found, yes, big things that will dramatically shift disclosure. I'll tell you this, Rob. Like
Wow.
the things that are going to be disclosed in a few months from now are going to change the path of archaeology, of what people thinks, believes, and this will be happening here in Mexico. I cannot say more, but huge
Wow.
things are happening, and yeah,
Holy
everything
heck.
taken care of.
What,
Yeah, so
when do you happen? Like when do you? Sorry. Go ahead.
no, no, no. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm saying, like, when do you? I mean, do you think, like, with Trump issuing the fact that he wants the UFO files found, and now this happening, that we're like, it's like disclosure is inevitable? Like,
Disclosure is inevitable. Trump is being known by many people as the president of disclosure or for disclosure. That's very cool. That's very important. Regardless of any party that you belong to, or if you don't belong to any party, you know, everyone is playing a role, and the role that he is doing, part of it is being the president for disclosure. There are things that everything is so connected to. You have here now a lot of things bursting in Mexico. I don't know if you get to see in the news what was happening in Mexico.
no, I didn't see.
Okay, so there was like a huge uh apprehension, like they imprisoned, they caught two of the major heads of the cartel here in Mexico. So a lot of the
Oh,
cartels
I
are
did hear
just
something about that. Like the guy's name was La Mencha or something like that, right? Yeah. So,
yeah.
I did see something about that. Sorry.
Okay, so a lot of the cartels are nesting around where the artifacts are. Is that a coincidence, or does that have a plan to it? Just think about it. Because then the military forces are where the ancient artifacts are, because they are chasing the cartel. So
Yeah.
there are things that are perfectly and strategically put together in a way that um, everything will boom at the same time. Cartel wise, artifacts wise, governmental wise, like huge shifts have been planned to explode at the same time, you know. And I think that I ha- I even think that at some point the continent of America could potentially be unified as one country. I'll tell you that. Everyone can write whatever they feel, whatever they think about this, but it's like you just do maths. You know, you start with one country, you continue with another one, then another one, then another one, then another one, then another one, until you get the full continent as one. Um, and whether if people believe it or not, whether if they agree with this or not, whether if they think that would be a good idea or not, I believe that we are being called to unity, you know, regardless, and that together we are stronger. And when you, no one is perfect, and mainly not in politics, you
Yeah.
know, like no one, neither you nor me, no one is perfect. Yet when you get someone that is doing more good things than bad things, or that at least are following a purpose with a higher mission, then you get something there. That's the only thing that I can tell you. What do you think about the disclosure, Rob? About
I'm excited for it. I really am excited. I mean, it's been a long time. Years of like, secrecy and like them covering stuff up. It's just like there's been like crash retrievals found. There's so much stuff. There's like crash retrievals, alien biologics. You know what I mean? Now you have the alien artifacts that you guys are finding. There's just like there's so much stuff that ties. Plus like all the black ops stuff that's going on that it's hard to prove, but like we know people are being messed with that, all that stuff too. So there's so much stuff, that could blow this wide open, and I think it needs to, and I think it's like kind of like how, Brian's conference, we need full disclosure, meaning like disclosure for everything that's went on, like, and even all the good and bad stuff.
well, how many years have you been working on this? And I'll tell you something, like the conferences with the for full disclosure with Brian, they definitely influenced for this to be. And this is something very important for us to be aware of, that everything that we are seeing that the big names are doing is a reflection of what we have been working on so hard. So it's not about them. It's about, well, yes, of course, but it's more about us, to take the time to thank ourselves for everything that we have been doing. Because if we hadn't done everything that we have done so far, Rob, the disclosure wouldn't be happening. Why would
Yeah.
it? Who would care? Nobody. So
Yeah.
it's truly because we have been doing a lot for that to happen. So it's time for us to really thank ourselves, because that's proving our work, our hard work. So congratulations, Robert, and thank you for everything that you have been doing.
Yeah, I've been censored. I had my YouTube channel taken down. I had my audio podcast demonetized. I had, I've been through like wars with YouTube and my, now I'm remonetized on everything, thank God. But they still won't give me my first YouTube back. So I had to fight censorship, and it's crazy. So I mean, I think it will all pay off if we do see disclosure, though, because I think that'll change the whole world. We're talking about something that would actually absolutely like morph the whole world in a short period of time. Like,
Yes. What do you think that disclosure will bring to the table? Like I'm talking about, let's go through it economically wise, innerly wise. What do you think that disclosure will bring into the table?
all of it, all the above. I'm hoping health stuff, you know what I mean? Like with med beds and stuff like that, like, free energy. This is kind of a reach, but it could be possible. You know what I mean? If everything we've been told is true about free energy, then if they disclose all this, then that would be something that would definitely probably come out. That's probably why they're fighting so hard not to get it out, because like, but my question is, if Trump releases these files and it says something about free energy in them, are people going to think that someone just made this up? Are they, are they actually going to believe it with the age of AI and the age of, people making stuff up, So that's something we have to think about too. But like, I hope it does what it's supposed to do, and I hope it like triggers a mass awakening, and discloses a lot of like, cool stuff.
I think it could be, yeah, I agree. And this is why, it's important just to focus in ourselves. And that is the way that we expand and impact the rest, not trying to convince them, just being ourselves, doing our things, and then that will reflect back. Another thing that I do believe that it's important to take into consideration about this is that I think the more that they could be coming from is trying to imprint fear on people,
Yeah.
like they're trying to conquer us like an Independence Day, bottom line, you know
Yeah.
I think that's how they could try to prevent it, or actually create rejection to it, like trying to make a plot to generate a plot of a possible invasion. But that's, like, if they, as we were saying, if those were their intentions, they would have done it like a while ago, you know
Yeah.
so yeah, I
I
think
agree.
that I'm sorry, you were
No,
saying.
I was just agreeing with you. That's all.
Yeah, I think that it's very important for us to stay together and stay holding the space with love. Um, you were also asking that if I believe that if it influences the fact that you are in a very specific level of consciousness or not in order to have contact. And I will tell you again, yes. Yes, if you see the protocol of Stephen Greer, um, it does, like you have to have your heart open. The other day I was talking to him, and we were mentioning about this, like the importance of thinking as extraterrestrial beings, not thinking as humans. When it
Yeah.
comes to technology, think as a galactic so that you understand how it really works. Don't think as a human. It's not like thinking as a human is lesser. The thing is that we were so programmed that if you truly want to think out of the box, you need to think as a multidimensional being, not
Yeah.
as a, you know, three-dimensional being. So, and again, you cannot hold the level of energy if you're not in access. You can't. You will start going in fear. Orbs and plasmoids won't come to you. Plasma beings won't come to you if they think they will harm you, because they are so much loving and caring that it's not about them not wanting to contact you. It's that they really don't want to freak you out. They even adopt humanoid forms for people not to freak out, because if they present themselves as how they truly are, people freak out, you
Yeah.
know because they were educated that way, through the survival instinct. So I think it's more about us being prepared to receive them for the ones that are not very tapped into them. And that's another topic. That's another whole topic. You know, how could you say people to prepare themselves for a big encounter? What would you say to them, Rob?
um I guess raise your consciousness, raise your frequency, get in a higher state of being. I think being in a higher state of being without fear would probably prepare you for. But oh, my light went out. Let me see here, 1 second. I, I think like being in a state of no fear, would definitely, and in a higher state of being would definitely, trigger, them to be more inept to come to you, um, yeah.
Okay, which race would you like to contact you?
I wanna meet some hot alien women, some hot Nordic chicks, So I think they'll like my show. So I'm just kidding.
Well,
I don't know.
you could have a co-host, you
Yeah,
know. Oh, it
yeah,
would be a different name. It would be follow the new adventures of Rob and Emsha. I don't know. You think about the name, just call her in. You can. If you thought about it, it's because that exists in another timeline. You just need or a spatial temporal constant. You just need to bring to it. And you can say, hey, if you want someone to deliver your messages, I'm the guy. And then who knows? We would be having an interracial wedding.
This is hilarious. Yeah. You're making me feel better because I feel so sick tonight. But like, you're making me feel a lot better. So thank you.
Oh, I'm happy. I'm happy about that. Yeah, seriously, like we are limitless. Let's think about that reality that we want to manifest. Um, we are about the verge of living all together in communities. I feel it here. Don't you feel it that way as
Yeah,
well?
yeah, I do. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's a good feeling too. Because I think a lot of people will, like, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's pretty exciting.
It is. Where would you like to live in community?
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe Hawaii. I like Hawaii maybe, or yeah, probably Hawaii if I could pick anywhere.
Well, Hawaii is also going through a lot of shifts,
Yeah,
after having so much control trying to be imprinted there, you know, like burning their houses to build new ones that people with resources deliberately did.
like
I think,
Oprah.
yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Exactly. You read my mind. So I think that it's really getting to a new stage, Hawaii. I feel it.
Yeah.
Let's manifest that, Rob. Let's manifest a community there in Hawaii. I
This
see
is
it.
this is what I wanted to ask you. Like, how much of our reality do you think like we can manifest? Do you think we can have like 80% control, or would you say like 50% control over our reality? If you had to give a percentage, like, or do you think we could control 100% of our reality if we get to that level? If we get to a certain level?
Well, I think that everything is proportional. If we reach to use the 100% of the potential of our brain, we can influence our reality 100%. Yet I think it's first you need to go through your like commanding your body and then wanting to command your reality, because if at some point you have fear inside you, then and you have attachments around you that are imprinting fear on you, then you won't be able to fully manifest it in 100%. But I'll tell you something, we are so divine that how many things of your reality you have already manifested and you didn't think that you would manifest until you say, wait, what? I invite you to see your cell phone, the photos in your cell phone, like from 4 years before, 5
Oh
years.
yeah, I was like a complete different person. Yeah.
But you will get to see that at some point you were giving you messages. Perhaps you were putting a picture of you with someone or meeting someone or doing something. And then you will say, oh, wow, I was already, no, wait, I knew already that I would go to, I don't know, name a place. In my case, this is why I'm telling you this example. I was looking the other day at the photos, like my photos 4 years ago, 5 years ago, or even more, and I saw Sedona, I saw Egypt, pictures that I would just save, thoughts, and that I would write, and I'm like, oh wow, I manifested most of the things. And I didn't even remember that I already was looking for that. So for me, one of the most powerful, and why I was saying why we are so divine and why we are so well taken care of, is because when something is so pure that comes from your heart, it's like you bring it to it, you say, oh wow, I would love this, and then you release it, and then you will see that it manifested. Why?
Wow.
Because it came from the heart. It didn't came from the ego. It didn't came from the you needing to achieve something and thinking about it and overthinking about it and making it an obsession.
Yeah, one thing I wanted to say was what I've done because I have like really negative thinking, so I've been training myself with like subliminals and affirmations, like especially like when I sleep I put on subliminals because I don't want the affirmations to go over and over again. But then when I'm walking, if I go on a long walk, I listen to affirmations, so like it kind of is playing it back in my head over and over again, so you can kind of reprogram the brain, or I don't know, I mean that's helped me a little bit.
That's very good. That's super good because something that is very interesting when you are planning or configuring your future, neurally speaking, you go to the neurons, to the neuronal pathway where you're coming from. It's like you go to the past to program your future. It's crazy. So this is why people keep on repeating the same patterns, because every time that you're trying to trace something new, what's happening in your neurons is that they are going to the past neuronal pathways to create the new ones. So it's like you're recycling, you're taking the same ingredients, but you're not coming with a new form without even knowing it. So but the reprogramming that you're talking about helps you to create new neuronal pathways, because without new neuronal pathways you cannot be creating new things. You're just looping it continuously. So that's a very good one, Rob. What else do you see that has helped you to manifest your
I
reality?
use a channel called Rockstar Affirmations. I like them a lot. It plays one affirmation in one ear and then one affirmation in the other ear. Then I'm starting to think that we have a hearing in the center of our head, because you can almost hear. You'll hear one tone. You'll hear one affirmation in one ear, one in the other. But then you'll hear something in the center. So I don't know if that's from combined from both ears, or if we actually have another, something that they're not telling us about. Because I hear something in the center too. So you hear three different affirmations at once, and they have all different kinds of ones. They have like anything that people could want. You know what I mean? Like like from manifesting money to losing weight to manifesting a better job to and I think that helps people. Especially if people are kind of like beginners at this stuff. You know what I mean? And they don't really understand how to manifest. Let it reprogram your brain for you, so then you can start to manifest. I think that's
Well,
where I would. Yeah.
I'll tell you what I think and what I know that you are feeling at the center. We have what they have taught us, which is the right and the left brain hemispheres, right? So then this is why they're putting you one frequency here and another frequency there. But they have not told us about that that the brain is unified. How? Through the neurons. Like the neurons, it's not like, hey, you cannot go through this part of the brain. You belong to the left side. Stay there. Please don't come. No, they don't care. They are just imprinted throughout all the brain. So what you are perceiving is two things. What I see again. First one, the communion of these frequencies with these frequencies are generating a third frequency. That third frequency is your gold. Why? Because it's what you, as Rob, are creating in your own universe, which is the
Wow.
best of the best. That's one thing. And the other thing is that inside this area of our brain, at the center, right where the eye of Horus is, have what the name is interthalamic adhesion.
What is
That
that?
is the center of your brain, literally. If you want to know what the center of your brain is, it's called interthalamic adhesion. It's the bridge. It's where no one does research of, but there is a void there in between what we know as brain hemispheres, in between what we know as brain lobes, interthalamic adhesion. There is a void there. Every time that you listen frequencies from your right ear and from your left ear, the waves that they are being, um, let's say, nourishing your neuronal pathways are rippling all the way into that void. And in that void, you're creating that reality of
Wow,
the best of the best.
that is so cool. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you want to try, what if you want to practice, you can put your fingers here, like with the thumb and with the index, and you can do this. And while you're listening to the frequencies, you inhale deeply and exhale deeply, and you start to harness the energy that is coming through your right ear and through your left ear. You start inhaling to harness it, amplify it, amplify it, amplify it, amplify it, and then bring into your head, into your mind, what you want to manifest, what you would love to be experiencing. Bring it while you're harnessing it, and then once you saw it, once you felt it as you are experiencing it, we are already there with that galactic, beautiful, curvy woman being. You're hugging her. You both are saying yes in front of a beautiful sunset at the beach in Hawaii. And behind this beautiful community, harmonically all together, and then instead of calling an Uber, you're calling a spaceship, whatever you feel like. And then once you felt it, you felt you smelled the sea, you felt the sand in your feet, you felt the breeze in your skin, and the skin of your woman crossing hands, and the smell of her essence, and then you just release, and you don't give
You
any
know,
more thought.
that's a good. That's a good because I have a human girlfriend that's like no, but for real, like I was she. I mean, I don't. We don't tell anybody that we're like, but like like I don't know,
I,
like I want to see her. She lives like 1,000 miles away. So like we're trying to like get together, and so that's a great idea to like try to manifest that. Like
yeah,
that's a
you can
that's a yeah.
you can even at distance agree without being in front of one another. You agree, you tell, hey beautiful lady, let's connect right now. But and then you meditate, she can meditate, you can do that same exercise with the same frequencies, putting here, harnessing the breath, visualizing. You can say, okay, we will give us 10 minutes of meditation, 20 minutes, and see what happens. You know, that moment, your consciousnesses will be meshed. It will be like like the right brain hemisphere and the left brain hemisphere, each one you representing the, let's say, the right, and she representing the left, and meshing at one moment, at one point, to manifest that reality. And that will be beautiful. And then you release the dream, you release the desire, then you can just be acting on it, because of course you need to do things to get there, of course. Yet the biggest desire to get there will already have been imprinted in the field of both of your realities co-creating to manifest it and bring it here.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. Like that's oh, this was a great show. I was gonna say we were gonna do readings, but we might have to wait till next time because I'm sick. Like
Yeah,
I want to. I did four podcasts today. Like but I mean like I definitely would like to have you on soon again, Z. So if you want to come back on, we could do one where we do readings or whatever. You know what I mean? We can do whatever. Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. No, I know this is why I was asking. Rob, tell me, how many shows have you done today? Tell me. I want to know because I know that you have been nonstop. So give yourself a rest.
I have. I
Give
did
yourself
four. I did four. I had
a rest.
Brad Olson on this morning. Then I had. Oh, wait, this is crazy that I can't even. I have to look at my. Wait, let me see here. Wait, I had Brad Olson. Then I had. What?
We're going to be together at the Rise of the Guardians.
Yeah, yeah. I had Brad Olson, Katie Bishop. I'm looking there, and and Eve Howard, and then you. So that was a great lineup today. I love it though. I love staying busy. Like people think I'm nuts because I do so much, but like I don't know if I would have it any other way because like I really like to just stay busy. Like I really like to and I
Wow.
love talking about this stuff. But what I need to do though is like I want to get in shape. Like I really want to get back in shape. So like I'm going to reverse it to where I'm putting in like 60% of my day into working out and like working out hard so I can get back in shape. Like because I used to be in like really good shape. I did like martial arts and I was on wrestled and everything like my whole life. And I did jujitsu and on so like like I want to get back to being in shape. So I want to instead of doing so many podcasts today, I want to flip it to where I'm doing like 60% working out and and like personal care and then like then like, cut back on the podcast a little bit. You know what I mean?
Well, that sounds like a plan. And also, you can give the command that you say to yourself for every show you will do, you will be nourishing your energetic body 80% or 70%. So you will be nourishing your energetic body, you will be nourishing your brain, amplifying your consciousness, expanding your consciousness. So you will have more energy after every show. But you
Well,
say with all your, as the very same reprogramming that you are listening to, like how the voice says it, like you say to yourself, that's going to be the reality. And you practice it. You do it for 1 month and then you let me know how that goes. You will feel more energy for sure.
yeah, yeah, hell yeah. Well, this was awesome, Lisa. Do you want to tell people where they can find you? And thank you for doing this. Was great. I had a great. This was awesome, and I'm
Yeah, we
glad
had
we
a
streamed it to
lot.
your channel too. Because then it kind of like lets our audiences combine. Like or cross. Like
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you everyone for joining us. You can find me at the Rise of the Guard. Well, let me go through order. At the Alien event in March, LA. You can find me at the Rise of the Guardians in May at Sedona. Then the Day of Being after, like also in Sedona, you will find all the description and information in my Facebook and YouTube channel. You will find me also at the Star Knowledge Conference in South Dakota in June. You can find me in many of the trips that we will be doing. I will be sharing the information. I have an upcoming trip with the Way of Being Foundation and Damanur. We will be sharing more details. Also, we'll be having some trips, potential trips here in Mexico. We'll see how things unfold. Yet in Peru as well. We will be going to Peru as a Way of Being Foundation and another collaboration with Grotalo from Damanur for the ones that don't know and want to take a look at it. Damanur is the it's the underground city in Italy. It's the community that built an underground city. You can see their show Singaya. He's also going to be participating with us and will be present at the Rise of the Guardians. Crotalo Sesamo from Damanur. Um, So it's a very interesting community. They followed all the ancient Atlantean teachings and Lemurian teachings. So they have these amazing temples underground. They are in one of the most energetic places on Earth. So again, if you want to check we will be doing very interesting collaborations. And stay tuned for the news that I will be giving. We will be giving with regarding to this. Uh, isn't it, like when you want to share things because you're so happy about them, yet it's not the moment, and it's like, okay, so stay tuned, because in my channel, in my program, in my YouTube channel, in my Facebook and so forth, because I will be giving very important news regarding to disclosure to ancient artifacts and to other projects that we have that will be very important for humanity as an heritage.
Wow, that's awesome. Yeah, I can't wait for it. That's awesome. Thank you so much, Isa. And yeah, and
Thank
yeah,
you.
I'll
Feel
be
better.
seeing you soon. All right. Good night, everyone. Take care. And
Thank
thank
you.
you.